Well, good evening, everyone. And I know you're thinking, wait a minute, isn't this DCC Today? Why are you saying good evening? Well, it's actually Sunday evening that I'm recording this because we have some late breaking news. As you know, Governor Inslee held his press conference this morning. I'm recording this on Sunday night. This morning, 11 o'clock, Governor Inslee announced some new restrictions that will be in place for at least the next 2 weeks because we are seeing a sharp spike in COVID-19 cases throughout our state. And actually, I've talked to some folks here locally that are very involved in our medical system, and we are seeing the same thing happening here locally. So there are definitely some more restrictions for our local businesses and even for our own family gatherings. And one of the questions is, what does that mean for our church activities? The restrictions on churches really have not changed too much from what they've been. There's been no change in terms of the occupancy that we can have in our building, no change to the mask requirement, no change to social distancing. The only change there really has been with this new set of rules is that when we're meeting here for in a congregational setting, we're not supposed to do congregational singing. You're allowed to have one soloist and one instrumentalist, and that's it. So for a Sunday morning service, that's really the only change, is a little bit of a change in the music. The question is, what about the broader programs? What are we going to do? You're about to watch DCC Today, the program we'd already prepared for Monday morning, and you'll see that there were a lot of things, there still are a lot of things planned for this week. And but we need to modify some of this. One thing that's going to change for sure is the church office will be closed. And so we will be taking phone calls, we'll be getting emails, but in terms of in-person visits to the office will be closed. For different small groups that meet here at the church during the week, Pastor Sean will probably be talking to you. But at this point, we would encourage your group to think seriously about not getting together and using some other means like Zoom, things like that, for your group to continue meeting. Again, if your group has specific questions, I would encourage you to get hold of Pastor Sean, talk to him, and you can formulate a plan. If you have a group that meets in your home, the new rules actually indicate that you are not to have anyone from outside of your household in your home. And so again, I think any small groups that are meeting need to look at that, and you probably need to find a different way to fellowship for the next couple of weeks, be that Zoom, telephone, whatever. Now, bigger events that are planned. This weekend, of course, there are several significant events that are on the docket. We have the Against the Tide movie coming Friday night. There's also Dr. Brian Miller, who will be speaking Sunday morning at our service and then doing a workshop Sunday afternoon. There's also the Surviving the Holidays program for Saturday afternoon being put on by Grief Share. And I believe that Grief Share event, they're going to try moving that to a Zoom event. And Colleen Price and others involved with that will be getting the word out to all of you that we're planning to come to that event about how best you can do that. But the event is still on. They just may have to do it a little bit different. At this point, I think we're still going to be showing the movie on Friday night. I've not heard different on that. Of course, there will be social distancing. We will wear masks, but the movie will still be on. And I think that right now it looks like we can do that in a safe, responsible manner. Sunday morning with Dr. Miller, that will still be happening. Of course, he'll be online. We'll be recording that ahead of time. So for those of you that watch online or on DVD, it'll still be available that way. And right now, it looks like we can have a service here. There won't be any singing. There may be some music for you to listen to, but we won't be singing. But we will plan to have Dr. Miller Sunday morning here for the in-person service. And then the workshop that afternoon, we were planning to make that both an in-person and a Zoom workshop. Right now, I think we will still do that hybrid workshop, although it might become just a Zoom workshop. We'll see how it goes as we move through the week here. There is a surf meeting that was planned, also a camera club, a new camera club meeting that was planned. And I would say if either one of those or something you're involved with, get hold of the leader of those groups, George Crabb for the surf ministry and Shane Simonson for the camera club event, and just find out what they're going to do. So I know it's disappointing to all of us to be kind of back doing this stuff again. The good news is, from what we're hearing in the news, there is a vaccine on the horizon. And so we can pray that that vaccine continues to perform and show itself to be safe and reliable, because that could mean that by this spring or sooner, we could see this cycle come to an end. And so I am certainly praying for our medical professionals that God will be in this, and that both by His grace and by the ability He's given us with science, that we may be able to find a solution to this. Well, let me turn it back over now to, I guess I'm going to turn it over to myself, because I'm going to introduce DCC Today now. But just wanted to give you a little update on what we're looking at as we move into this week. Okay? Well, good morning, everybody. Welcome to DCC Today. We are going to start with a photo of the day, and this is from Kurt Bidinger. It's a pelican at Hobuck Beach. Now, if you recall, last Monday, I also showed a picture that Kurt had taken of a sandpiper at Hobuck Beach. Now, I don't know if this was the same day or not, but if it was, Kurt had a very good day of bird watching at Hobuck Beach. So great picture of that pelican, Kurt. Thanks for sharing it. Announcements. Tonight, 7 p.m., the new Camera Club is having its first meeting. So if you're interested in either photography or videography, whether you have a lot of experience or maybe no experience but you'd like to learn, why don't you come on down and be part of that. If you need more information, contact the church office, and Shane will be leading that meeting tonight, and kind of excited about this club getting started. So that's tonight, 7 o'clock here at the church. And then this weekend, this is a big weekend for us. I talked about this last week. Friday night, we have the movie Against the Tide that we've become a host site for showing that. This is a brand new film that's just come out. It's doing its premiere in a few select theaters across the country on Thursday night, the 19th, and then it's premiering in a number of churches and schools around the country on Friday night, the 20th. Because the very few theaters are open right now, they have gone to this model of using host sites, and we have become one of those host sites. If you'd like to see the movie, it features John Lennox. John Lennox is a Cambridge mathematician and a firm follower of Jesus, and he is going to be laying out the case for faith, that science and history points us to Jesus. And so, well done film. There is a cost for admission. You buy your tickets online. It's $11 for adults, $9 for kids. And if you go to the church website, dcchurch.org, there is a banner there for the movie. Click the banner and you can purchase your tickets online. And so that'll be coming up on Friday night of this week. And seating is limited. It will be in the main auditorium. But last time I saw, we already had over 50 seats that were sold for the movie. So if you'd like to come, be sure you get on there and get your tickets quickly. And then Saturday, we have a special guest joining us, Dr. Brian Miller. Brian Miller is the research coordinator for the Center of Science and Culture at the Discovery Institute in Seattle. The Discovery Institute is the leading think tank in the nation, maybe in the world, for the scientific theory of intelligent design. In other words, arguing that the evidence of the world around us, the best evidence of science, points us to the fact that there is an intelligent creator that has made us. And Brian himself is a Christian, loves the Lord. He also has great credentials as a scientist. He has his Bachelor of Science in Physics with a minor in engineering from MIT and a PhD in physics from Duke University.
He also was one of the co-authors for the book God's Not Dead, which became the basis for the movie by the same name. And so he's going to be joining us this weekend on Saturday night at 6:30 here at the church. He'll be leading a workshop just for students, junior high up through college age, where they can come and ask lots of questions because, as you know, this is a big topic in school. Where did we come from? Did we just evolve, or is there evidence for a designer? So he'll be talking to our students on Saturday night. Sunday morning, he will be our speaker for the Sunday morning service, both in person, if you come to our 9 o'clock service, or online. Both places, you'll be able to see Brian, hear him. And then Sunday afternoon at 1 p.m., there will be a workshop. For those of you that would like to dig deeper into this topic and hear more of the science and more of what is going on in terms of getting the ideas and the arguments of intelligent design out there, that will be happening Sunday afternoon at 1 p.m. here at the church. However, that workshop will also be available by way of a Zoom broadcast as well. So if you can't be here in person, if you're more comfortable doing it on Zoom, you will be able to attend the workshop at 1 o'clock on Sunday either way. There was a registration form that went out a few days ago. I hope that you found it in your email and that you filled it out. If not, go look for it or call the church office and let us know. We are asking that you give us some idea if you plan to come to the, especially the Sunday afternoon workshop, but also the Sunday morning service. We know there are going to be some extra guests coming, and we want to be sure we have enough seating. So if you could just let us know, that'd be a huge help. Okay, now, Thanksgiving is almost here, which is wonderful, but that also means that Christmas is coming just around the corner. Can you believe it? And that means that we are getting ready to do some shopping. And we're going to do something this year in terms of shopping to encourage you to support our local merchants. I think one of the really practical ways that we can love our neighbors, Jesus said it was one of the 2 great commandments, to love God with all of our heart, to love our neighbor as ourselves. One of the practical ways to love our neighbors is to shop from our local businesses in our community this Christmas as much as we can. These little businesses and the families they support, as you know, this has been a really rough year for them. And we've come up with something. We're going to have them in the office. They're like a little coupon. And you can get one of these coupons. And the idea is that you would take this, and when you make a local purchase, you would give them this coupon along with your money or along with your credit card. They get to keep the little coupon. And it's just a message from us as a church family saying, we care about you, we care about your business, we're praying that God provides for you, and there's even room on the back to write a note if you'd like. And so we'll be getting out more information about those, but if you'd be interested in getting some, just give the church office a phone call or drop us an email, and we'll get you some of these coupons. And I think it's a wonderful way that we can bless our neighbors and share some of God's love with them. Then, speaking of giving, Advent conspiracy. Every year we talk about Advent conspiracy. How do we undermine the greedy spirit of Christmas and celebrate what Christmas is really about Christ who came to give? And we have often used Advent conspiracy to support the work of Living Water International. We'll be doing that again this year. We also want to use money from Advent Conspiracy to support some of our local community partners. Groups like Obria that provide services to moms in unexpected pregnancies. The Lilies of the Valley Home, which is a recovery home for women that are coming out of addictions and other issues. And also our Love Box ministry, which supports foster families in our area to help them, and some other ministries. And so we're going to be getting you more information about that, but we're asking everyone to give to the Advent Conspiracy Project, and the money that you give will be used both to support Living Water International as well as some of our local ministries right here in this community. And then, coming up on Christmas Eve, We've been talking a lot about what we're going to do with our Christmas Eve service. And one of the challenges is we keep hearing that they may go backwards in some of the phases in terms of the COVID restrictions. We're not sure right now what that will look like come Christmas. Would we be able to have a service? And of course, Christmas Eve tends to be a service that lots of people try to come to. How would we do that? How could we do 2 services or even 3 services on Christmas Eve? Because you need time in between for cleaning, and there's just a lot of complicated logistics to it. So what we're going to do is we're going to plan as though we're not going to have a Christmas Eve service here. We're going to pre-record everything for Christmas Eve. There is a neat little kids program that we're putting together. There will be Christmas carols to sing with. I'll be sharing a devotional. We're going to have all of that recorded ahead of time, and we're going to create some DVDs, and we'll also have a way to watch that online. And we're going to ask you to not watch the DVD and to wait to watch online until Christmas Eve, so we all do it together. But not just that you'd watch it. We'd like for you to get one of those DVDs and give it as a gift to a friend and invite them to celebrate Christmas Eve with us as well. So we'll get you more information about this in the days and weeks ahead, but just start thinking about that now. Who would you like to share Christmas Eve with? If we're able to have a service here, we probably will do some kind of a Christmas Eve service, but right now we're going to plan like we're not and look for an opportunity to share Christmas Eve with our neighbors, with our family in a fresh and unique way. So we're kind of excited about that. How about a devotional thought for the day? This comes from 1 Peter chapter 2, verse 17. Peter says, honor everyone, love the brotherhood, fear God, honor the emperor. There's an interesting one. Think about who the emperor was. We're talking about Nero, who was a violent, godless, horrible individual. And Peter, in terms of talking to Christians, saying, love people, honor people, he specifically says, honor the emperor. Wow, if they're supposed to honor him, like there's nobody that they shouldn't show honor or love to. And that's probably a good word for all of us to remember in a time when there's been so much division and so much bickering that we're called to love and to honor others. Well, Jennifer, who do we have an interview with today?
Okay. Hello, everyone. Our guests joining us today are Steve and Sandra Wooff. They are going to share a little bit about their life with us today. And so, Sandra, I'm going to pass it to you first. Maybe you can tell us a little bit about where you grew up and did you grow up in a Christian home? When did you come to know the Lord? Maybe just, share with us a little bit about that.
Thank you. Well, we were both raised in the northwest of England, in Cumbria, and we've been there pretty much all our lives. Well, last 10 years we were down in the south of England, but yes, certainly in the UK for all that time. And I didn't grow up in a Christian home. I did go to quite a Christian school, so I did learn a lot about the Bible through O-level studies for 5 years, which I thoroughly enjoyed. But I wasn't a religious person then. And I came to know the Lord sort of within a short time of being living here in Scrim.
Okay.
We got to know DCC. I started really with the Bible study, the women's Bible study here, and thoroughly enjoyed it. And I was really blown away by the lovely community and the family sort of feel about it. I was made very welcome, and it's just been a really great experience for me.
Yeah. And how about you, Steve? What about your house growing up?
Yeah, I grew up in the northwest of England in the Lake District, what we call the Lake District. And no, it wasn't a Christian home. In fact, my father was really anti it and was quite intent on telling everybody who wanted to listen. So it certainly wasn't a Christian home. However, the primary school first I went to, had a church attached to it, as most primary schools do in the UK. So I attended church regularly because that was part of what the school did. It was a Church of England school. And the same with the secondary school. So I grew up learning and studying the Bible, and so I understood and I knew the stories. I being from that background, I wasn't a Christian. I didn't know the Lord. I just knew the stories, if you like, or some of the stories.
Mm-hmm.
And that remained the same for many, many years. I didn't push that any further. I didn't feel that there was any beneficial stuff for me there at that time. I just didn't know. So that was growing up. And then even when I left home and moved out of the home, as you do when you get older, into your late teens, I was still very unaware of the Lord. And it was coming to America that showed us, or where the Lord found us, I guess, or we found him. I don't know how you want to really do that. Maybe it was just a symbiotic thing, but we certainly were enlightened by our travels across America, the United States. That's how we came to realize there was a presence there for us.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And how did you two originally meet each other? And when did you meet each other?
We worked together.
Yeah, we worked in a paper mill together.
We didn't work. When I say work together, we worked in the same factory. We did different jobs, but we came to know each other, if you like, and that's over 20 years ago now.
Okay, and that was before you moved to the States.
Yeah.
Okay.
But going back to what you're saying about our upbringings, Jennifer, I don't think either of us felt that it was a particularly religious place in the UK. We didn't have any pressure on us or any encouragement to turn to the Lord, or even the mention of a relationship with Christ was never
It
ever
wasn't
mentioned.
as visible, if you like. It just wasn't as visible.
Mm-hmm.
I think maybe it's more of a traditional thing there, and people go to church for tradition and habit. I never saw any relationship with Christ ever in the whole 50 years there. I just never saw it.
And so when you came to the United States, maybe what drew you in maybe initially to even pursue the Lord here?
When we were traveling on motorbikes, and we were camping and staying, and we would stay at people's properties, and practically everywhere we went, people were talking about Christ and encouraging us and
praying for us.
Yeah, and it was just.
We were quite
amazing.
shocked. We found it quite bizarre,
Yeah.
you see. So that really, especially initially on the eastern side, it was I don't know, it was just so eye-opening for us. It was such a culture shock for us, if you like. Nobody had ever prayed for us before. I mean, it just hadn't happened. And for people to visibly and openly speak and tell us that they were praying for us on our journey was quite astounding.
The shocking part about it was the Americans' openness about a relationship with Christ.
Mm-hmm.
It's something that was just never spoken about in the UK.
Mm-hmm.
So people talking to us about it and asking us about it was just.
And we experienced
shocking.
this right across the USA, right from the East Coast to the West Coast. Everywhere we went, every state we were in, we experienced this similar type of attitude. And when we eventually were coming to the end of our trip, and we spent 3 months in Port Townsend, just by a quirk of fate, if you like. Well, maybe it wasn't a quirk of fate. I think that's where God put us, to be honest. But anyway, in that time there, we met lots of people from the Scrim area, lots of families, a lot of Christian families, and it cemented the deal, if you like, for us. It made us absolutely realise that this relationship that these other people were having with God was something that we could have too if we wanted it, and it was a real, it was a complete entity. It was a real living thing, the living word, if you like. It was really quite illuminating for us, and that's where the seed, if you like, the germ started to develop. We started to realize, and then, as Sandra says later, when we did actually move here and got a bit more involved, that's when we did come to know the Lord.
We made a decision that we wanted to get baptised and we wanted to turn to Christ. It was time, a whole life of just having nothing like that.
Mm-hmm.
I think I've heard it said, you come to the end of yourself. I think that's kind of where I was, at the end of myself, and I was needing to make a change. And I've really been totally embraced by the community. That you know, particularly this church is a wonderful family community, and we've made some very good friends. And the fellowship is really powerful and amazing, and so important. And in the UK, people just didn't generally go to church. It's not a regular thing, and they're missing out on so much. You know, so much community life.
Now, I'm going to back you up just a little bit, because you guys make it sound like getting on a motorcycle and just going across the United States is just a normal thing. So tell me a little bit about the genesis of that. What is that? Why you came here originally to the States? Did you, or?
Yeah, it was a travel trip. You know, we'd heard. I mean, we'd done extensive travel back home and in Europe. You know, we'd done it, and we like to do backcountry type travel. You know, into the remoter areas, where, you know, camping and just experiencing the remoteness of various countries and various different cultures. And we've learned a lot. Anyway, we heard of the Trans-America Trail, which basically is 5,000 miles of dirt road from the east coast to the west coast, and that was right up our alley. You know, we thought, yeah, this is the thing to do, and so we left our jobs. You know, we planned on being away for potentially 6 months or longer. We'd really said, you know what, we'll do this. We'll start in the USA and travel, and then we'll go up into Canada and see family up there, and then we'll see what happens. You know, with kind of the plan of going down through Central America and Southern America. That was sort of the original plan. However, we didn't quite get that far, but that was the reason we came to America, to the United States, was to do this 5,000 miles of dirt roads. And then, like I say, we actually spent 3 months in Port Townsend. So it was just a trip. It was just a motorcycle trip. It was just what we did. That's how we got our holidays, our vacations. That's what we did. Okay. And so that, from our point of view, it was just a normal thing, if you like. But it was very, very challenging, I've got to say, and obviously illuminating at the same time, because of the people we met. When we saw some wonderful, wonderful countryside in the States, and just some terrific vistas, but the people that we met at every turn were just so, they were so fantastic. It really, because we have a preconception, or I had a preconception about Americans, you know, and they weren't like that. They weren't like my preconception. They were completely different. They were so generous and so kind, and so it was a real culture shock for me to be received in the manner that we were received in. Was just so, it was so gratifying, so grateful for it. It was tremendous.
And when you traveled, I'm sorry, Cindy. When you traveled, you didn't have reservations anywhere. You just stopped and found someone.
We were just following a trail with a tent.
With a tent, we had our own food. We had our own little stove, our own food, our own sleeping gear. You know, so we didn't need anything, if you like. However, because of what we were doing, we would, you know, stop at different ranches and out of the way places, because it was very remote, and say, do you mind, you know, we'd like to camp in the corner of somebody's property, you know, and so a ranch. So we'd always have permission. We wouldn't just pitch a tent up and
right.
So we'd try and find, if there was a ranch or a house or whatever nearby, we'd say, is it okay to do this? And by us doing that, we met these people, and they were just, some people said, no, you can't camp there, you've got to come into the house, you know. And so we were instantly absorbed in this different world, and we were allowed in people's houses, and we were prayed, like I said before, we were prayed for, and we met the families, and it was a real shock to us, a real eye-opener.
Those people rocked our world, because nobody in the UK would say, yes, it's okay for you to camp on the corner of my property. No. The answer would be no. Shove off.
Yeah. So.
Or worse. Yeah, they'd chase you down the road with a stick. It wouldn't happen. And then to get invited into somebody's house, a complete stranger inviting you into their home for a meal and a bed, we found just bizarre.
That's amazing.
So, and those people were Christians.
Mm-hmm.
And we're still in touch with some of those people, you know, we're still those people, and this was 2012, and we're still in touch with some of those people, and, you know, it's a wonderful, wonderful experience.
Yeah, God definitely had a plan bringing you to the United States.
Yeah.
Exactly. This is what we were coming to with it. It wasn't, we chose to do this adventure, if you like, but I think the Lord was watching over us even then back in the UK, guiding us to probably where he really thinks we would be ideally suited. And I've got to say, I think he's absolutely right.
Yeah.
Mm.
Well,
Yeah,
I'm going
we've been looked
to.
after very well by so many people along the way and here.
Mm-hmm. That's
Yeah, that was like the seeds of our turn to Christ. Really, is those people along the way.
people. Yeah. And we talk about how important it is just in being in a community of faith to always be a light to people and be prepared to be a light to people. And so it's great to hear stories of how, those people didn't plan for you to walk into their life that day, but they were just prepared already. God had prepared their hearts before you even got there. So
Yeah.
We've learned from those people how to behave towards other people, how to look after other people, because of the way we've been looked after.
Yeah.
And it's not something we ever saw in the UK.
Wow. Well, I'm going to transition just a second to Steve, because you had a pretty big injury here recently. So maybe tell us a little bit about that and where you are with your recovery.
Yeah, 7 weeks ago now, I suffered quite a severe open fracture of my lower leg, both fibula and tibia. It was a work-related incident, and sadly, I suffered quite a nasty break and quite a lot of other tissue damage as well. And so I spent some time in Harbourview, and they patched me up. And just today is the first day I've been allowed to put weight on it, so I'm recovering. But I've been sat at home for 6 weeks on my book, putting weight on.
Interview you when you have to walk all the way over here and do all this stuff on your foot.
Yeah, putting weight on, but yeah. So my recovery is really good. I've done, the healing has gone really well, and like I say, I'm now putting weight on it and moving forward. And I've moved forward from day one, in fairness, because of knowing the Lord and having that mindset. We get these setbacks and we get these pretty nasty injuries, and you've got a simple choice to make. You can talk to the Lord and say, right, this is where we are. Where do we go? What do we do? We move forward, or you can either not know the Lord or push him away and become self-absorbed and go nowhere. In fact, go into retrograde. So I feel fortunate that I've been able to speak, because I've spent a lot of time sat on my own, just in my little shell, because I can't go anywhere, I can't do anything. Mm-hmm. And I've spent a lot of time talking and a lot of time thinking. I have to say that I'm not, sadly, the type of person. I don't do a huge amount of praying. I do a lot of talking to God, but I don't. One of my things I'm not very good at is actually getting down and actually praying. But I do talk a lot. We do talk a lot. So I find that having a conversation works for me. So I've spent a lot of the last 6 weeks talking and listening and learning, and here we are. We're moving forward at really quite a successful rate of knots. So yeah, a few more weeks, I'm going to be. You're going to be nearly back to normal
pretty soon. Yeah, I was impressed that you walked as far as you did to get to where your video.
Well, like I said, it's a choice, isn't it? I don't want to be sat on my bum for the rest of my life. I want to be back to where I was, and so you have to kind of pick yourself up and get yourself in that arena, And thankfully that we've got tools at our disposal that allow us to be able to talk to friends and family and the Lord as well, and share this with him, because he knows what's going on. So so put myself out there, and yeah, it's worked so far.
Yeah. Well, I just appreciate you guys being willing to come and share just a little bit of your life. What an exciting life you've had. And it's just been great to hear a little bit about you. So thank you for being willing to share. I know this is always a little nerve-wracking for people, so I appreciate you guys being so easygoing about it and willing to do it. So I'm just going to say a little prayer before we head out today. So Heavenly Father, we just thank you so much for this time that we got to share. I thank you for Steve and Sandra and their willingness to share with us. I just thank you, Lord, the way you weave their lives to come to the United States and that you just put people in their path to bring them to you. It is just so amazing to hear just the way you weave things together so that people can find you. And I just thank you for their willingness and their openness to accept what people were telling them and to accept you into their lives. I thank you for their story and what a witness they can be for other people. And I just thank you for bringing them here today to share with us. And I pray as we go out the rest of the day, Father, that you will just allow us to be lights to others and be prepared for those that maybe walk through our door, that will open our hearts and your word to them, just like they did for Steve and Sandra. We thank you, and I pray this in Jesus' name. Amen.
Amen. Thank you.
Thank you, guys.
Thank you.
Thanks for joining us. I'll be back here Wednesday morning with another episode of DCC Today. And until then, God bless.